This is really a huge goal for NASA. They want to fly phantom women, quote unquote, around the moon in 2020 in order to prepare for the Artemis mission. This is according to Sputnik from NASA News. The unmanned flight Artemis 1 is the first in a series of complex missions, and they've been conceived to facilitate the ambitious target of enabling human exploration of the moon and beyond the moon, Mars, of course, next step, as NASA seeks to establish sustainable human presence on the moon in just a few years. They aim to do that by 2028. Now, NASA is sending 2 dummies with the unmanned Artemis 1 mission to the moon in 2020. That's next year, obviously, in a few months. And they're going to be sending them to probe the amount of radiation that astronauts could absorb when they're scheduled to finally reach the moon in 2024. This is according to space.com. One of the dummies is named Zohar, and that dummy will wear the radiation shielding vest called STEMRAD, while in the case of the second one, dubbed Helga, the protection will be omitted in order to determine the amount of radiation emitted by the sun in space and absorbed by the second dummy that's not protected for radiation. The vest is designed to protect parts of the human body that are most sensitive to radiation. I would say all of the human body is sensitive, but anyway. And the model traveling to Artemis 1 is made of a female body that is seen by studies as being more susceptible to radiation than male bodies are. Now, the mission says that we're very happy to fly STEMRAD on this mission. This is what Thomas Berger, leader of the team of the biophysics group at the German Aerospace Center DLR, stated at the International Astronomical Congress 23rd of October. Berger is the principal investigator of the dummy test that will fly on Artemis 1. It's formerly known as the Matrushka Astrorad Radiation Experiment, or MARE for short, M-A-R-E. These vests use polyethylene blocks to shield against radiation particles. That's something that is already used in the crew sleeping quarters on the American side of the International Space Station in order to protect the astronauts from radiation, Berger explained. And there's another radiation vest currently aboard the ISS called the Astrorad Radiation Shield. It's also made for the female body. The vest is said to protect vital human tissue, particularly stem cells, which could be devastated by solar radiation in deep space or on Mars, and comprises many layers that will be tailor-made for each astronaut. Non-metallic protective materials will be positioned on each shield to cover the organs of each astronaut. Oren Milstein, CEO, Chief Scientific Officer of STEMRAD, said, "This product will enable human deep space exploration. Our breakthrough has come in creating the architecture of the multi-layered shield to accurately cover the most important organs." Now, astronauts on the ISS will perform ergonomics testing with STEMRAD late in the year, or just now actually, we're already in December, or early 2020, and they want to be able to ensure that this 57-pound vest, that's a lot of weight. Anyway, but they're in space, so they're weightless. So it's 57 pounds of vest will not hamper the daily activities of the astronauts. It depends on how thick it is, obviously. Now, ambitious lunar program. The unmanned Artemis 1 was known previously as Exploration Mission 1, and it's the first in the spate of missions that will facilitate human exploration of the moon and also Mars. This is what NASA commented to as for the commitment to landing American astronauts, including the first woman and the next man on the moon in just a few years, 2024. NASA Space Launch System, the SLS, and Orion will blast off from Launch Complex 39B at NASA's modernized spaceport at Kennedy Space Center from Florida. And after about three weeks, the total distance traveled will be over 1.3 million miles, and the mission will end with a test of Orion's capability to return safely back to Earth. Now, the second flight will take the crew on a different trajectory and test Orion's critical system with humans on board. And future exploration missions with crew on board, Orion will assemble and dock with a gateway used for deep space operations, including missions to and on the moon, with decreasing resilience on Earth. It's in order to gain experience needed to extend human exploration farther into the solar system. The agency wants to fly Artemis 2, the first SLS in Orion flight with crew, in 2022. So things are going to be going a lot faster from 2020 on. Every 6 months or so, we'll be having news concerning this. NASA is hoping to land astronauts on the moon by 2024 on the Artemis 3 mission, and about once a year after that, with the next potential step being to send astronauts to Mars. Well, okay, first of all, they need to be able to get off the Earth. And who will be carrying them there? That's my question, because they seem to be having problems with rockets and the heavy rockets systems. I don't know what to say. How will they get out there? Anyway, that's my big question. More power to them. Now, more on the Artemis mission. NASA's program, Artemis, preparing the astronauts for the moon. This is by Morgan McCartney, on Spartan Shield. While the 60s were a time best known for, as we know, its moon landing. Recently, NASA announced plans for landing on the moon again, 2024. Some say that's really positive thinking. Others say it's not possible. But anyway, because of this information, led some to wonder if space exploration is still worth the time and money it takes to send the astronauts to space, and many wonder what there is left to discover. Well, there's a lot to discover. We haven't done anything on the moon. Have we seen anything? Nothing. There's no simple way to prepare astronauts, though, for the intensities of space travel. NASA is using a massive water tank here to prepare astronauts. That's where they have their practice and exercises. The water environment allows them to move around, set up habitats, collect samples, and deploy experiments just as they would on the moon, according to NASA. This neutral buoyancy lab helps to simulate what it would be like to walk on the moon. And not only does NASA Artemis program intend to keep human presence stable on the moon, it will also make history by landing the first woman on the moon. Well, I think it's basically a marketing ploy, but anyway. While NASA's knowledge of space is quite extensive, one physics teacher, Ian Spanningberg, says he's a firm believer in the importance of space travel. He says, we as a society have an interest in understanding what matter and energy operate in the way they do, why they operate the way they do. So space exploration helps us answer these big questions. And he's optimistic about the multitude of benefits the moon could provide for the world, such as providing a moon base equipped with efficient solar panels and an abundance of gas material. He says, after all, the pursuit of achieving challenging things spawns technology and conceptual advancements that we can't even dream of right now, he said. Now, of course, we know that all this costs billions upon billions of dollars, and keeping a colony there means that it's going to be trillions of dollars, because you just can't leave them there. You have to have a commitment, but the information gained from these exertions make the price worthwhile. The United States expedition into space has brought smarter technology, including GPS, accurate weather predictions, ultraviolet filters, materials used to make athletic shoes soles and things like that. And if anything should happen to Earth, the solar system is the next best choice of our habitation. While evidence gained from NASA's Mars exploration rover, the possibility of life on Mars is not unattainable. Well, others say it is not possible, others say it is. Rover Spirit found rocks 10 times richer in key chemicals than any other Martian rock study before, and the rocks formed when Mars was warm and wet, suggesting this warmer, watery environment could have supported life in the past. So the evidence helps to justify the need for USA's presence in the world of space exploration. And the journeys to the moon, again, could provide the world with more information about space and could lead to other technological advances, of course, because it has been stopped since the 1960s, 70s. Although the purpose of traveling to the moon has not been clarified, NASA is hopeful for another few decades of astronomical success. Well, maybe the purpose is because other countries are geared and have their goal of landing on the moon and even having stations around the moon and on the moon. So obviously they don't want to lose their chance of having a foothold on the moon as well, since others are there. Even Israel tried to go. That was a little bit failed, but at least they tried. So this is on Spartan Shield as well, and I'll leave links below for you for this. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.